And we've definitely seen something change. There's been a shift over the last 6 months, and perhaps the Millwall game was the biggest reflection of the change between the football that Sunderland were playing at the beginning of the season and last season. And admittedly, there's been a bit of a personnel change since last season because the likes of Ahmad have gone and Patrick Roberts has not had a good season. But there's definitely been a change, and there has to be something this summer that reignites that. They've got to get the right players in, they've got to get some experience in there, and they've got to, I think, address this issue up front.
Barnsley, for me, I don't know how you see it, but what I've seen, I don't see a group of young players, talented young players, playing with freedom. I think that's the biggest. You know, you've got these talented young players we're hearing about, but they've got to be on the pitch making decisions off what they're seeing and feeling on the game. So if you look at Chris Rigg, for example, Chris Rigg looks like a pressing machine. He looks like the one player who plays with intensity, in possession, out of possession, which merits a Sunderland shirt. So he's got to be grabbing hold of the game and going, and this is, you know, it could be a bit. He's 16-year-old, he's 17, but he looks like somebody who wants to go and press one midfielder, drops, goes back to the centre-half, goes back, let him go and chase that down. The likes of Seb Larsson, likes of Fabio Barini used to do that, and that's what the crowd engage with, and to me it just looks a little bit, we hear a lot about well-coached teams, over-coaching, like, is there a bit of that going on? I don't know what goes on in there, but
feels just a bit overcomplicated.
It looks very tactical.
Well, it's
to me.
interesting.
You're watching, it looks very tactical.
Lee's saying that about over-coaching. I had a conversation yesterday with someone about that. Is the way that Mike Dodds talks, the way he talks about the coaching and the way that he prepares teams, are they overcoached? Are they coached to within an inch of their lives?
Yeah.
And that has taken that freedom out of them. And I think it's interesting you touch on Chris Rigg, because I thought he was the one player against Millwall who was fearless and was prepared to take players on.
I had a chat with one of the lads afterwards. Obviously, George Honeyman's at Millwall. He was loving the fact that Riggy was pushing and shoving him in the box. He showed loads of character, so let him go and express that. I walked into loads of mistakes as a player. I got red cards, yellow cards, but at least I was allowed to go and show how much I cared and how much I want to affect the game. And he's got to have that freedom. He looked so disappointed when he came off, but you see him with England, the youth teams. He gets assists, he gets goals, he plays forward, he wants to run forward, he gets in the box, he wants to go and tackle people, he wants to press people. So let him be the example. I know he's a young player, but if naturally, if you look at Dan Neil, Ekwa, Job, they play with a different sort of swagger, and I'm not sure that's a Sunderland player. But so it depends your makeup of your recruitment now in the summer. Go and get more players who can play with higher intensity, and I think that's what, our big enemies up the road, that's what they've done with Eddie Howe. It's really high tempo, really front foot aggressive football, but to get that you need to have a certain way of the character of the coach, but also of the character of the player you bring in. So
that's why the appointment of the coach is huge as well.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Tony. What Tony did was he gave the freedom, so then the players.
Okay, go on then quickly, Bonzi. Then we'll hear from Mike
quickly on
Dodds
that
as well.
point.